Hey everybody, it's time for a new build. Working on a 1982 CB750. This is a SC Nighthawk edition. I picked it up as a barn find. I did a trade with a fellow, and the last time this bike was registered was in 1999. So I'm going to show you a few things. We kind of got my builder starter pack going, and we can start digging in on this. So we'll go over the bike a little bit. This is it. It's nothing special. It's mainly dirty as heck because it was literally in a barn. The beautiful thing about it is look at the miles. Really low miles, other than the fact that it's, you know, dingy from sitting in the damp outside for so many years. But anyways, this baby's gonna get a complete makeover. Definitely getting rid of all the vintage 80 stuff. I got a rear swing arm from a Ducati 848, got the rear rim, got my rear shock. I got a tank here. I'm not sure yet if I'm sold on this tank. I got my manual, gasket kit, my mow unit. And then I have the front end from a 1098 Ducati 2010. I believe these were 2008 or 2011, one of the two. Brakes. I got an extra triple clamp simply because I wasn't sure how hard it was going to be to get that stem out, but this one that's on the floor, I've already got the stem out of it, so it's going to get a new, either that's going to get cut down and then I'm going to machine a stem to fit through for the forks, or I'll machine a whole new stem with the threads on it. I'm trying to decide yet what I want to do. And I got the front rim for it. Up inside the engine, I wanted to make sure the thing would run. The cars were in terrible shape. All of the diaphragms, stuff for the pumper, and the decel valves, all the diaphragms were just dry rotted. They were gone. So I got all those parts, but I was able to make the engine run. It ran like crap with all the stuff like it was, but the engine ran. But so I didn't want to rebuild the carbs yet. So I got all the parts, and I had bought them a long time ago and sitting them underneath there. But anyways, we're going to get started basically stripping this thing down and getting some of the weight off of it, because this is a heavy turd. And I'm either going to start on the front, putting the front end on first, or I'll start working on the rear end, which is going to require a lot more mods, I think. And I have to be able to jack it up to remove the rear suspension in order to put the 848 rear end. The reason I chose the 848 was because this point right here, where I can tie the rear shock into on a Ducati, that is for the ride height adjuster, goes there, and the shock ties in way down here. So it's got a hinge system that works it, but I'm going to be able to tie the shock directly into here, and then that would get a mount made in somewhere inside the frame. So anyways, that's why I chose that for the single-sided swing arm. So other than that, we are ready to roll. I'm going to start disassembling and getting some of this weight off this bike, and then we will touch base back whenever I think about it, when I'm taking this apart, deciding what I'm wanting to do. All right, buddy, we've been just trying to take this thing apart, get things prepped so we can start looking at what we want to do next. There's the junk. You know, I gotta hand it to the older vintage bikes, because they made everything so friggin' heavy. I guess it was a good thing fuel was cheap back then. So, you know, modern bikes are so much lighter. But man, just that exhaust alone, each pair was extremely heavy. So taking all that weight off, heck, the bike's gonna go faster just removing that stuff. Anyways, we got it down to the basics. I have to determine if I'm going to start on the rear swing arm or the front. I'm probably going to start with the front because it's probably the most simplistic to do. All right, this is the lower triple clamp for the 1098 front end from a Ducati 1098. I had already broke it free. It was kind of a booger, but this one's different than any of the ones I've ever seen before. Ducati threaded the end. So what I plan to do is I'm either going to just cut this off right at the flange here, which is a high probability of what I'm going to do. And then come in on the back side here, machine in a step, and then press through an aluminum pin to go through and machine it to fit the bearings. And then at the top of the triple clamp on the Ducatis, it's got a big nut that threads in, and then the clamps around the actual nut. So I'll have to machine a new nut to go on the end of the new axle here. And so I'll contemplate and think about how I want to do it. I may either machine it as one piece aluminum and then thread it, or just machine a blank axle that presses through this. I just need to verify the actual stock bearings, the replacement bearings that I have that go through here, to make sure I'll have enough material to be able to fit it through there. And if so, then that's probably what I'll do. All right, everybody, I decided I'm going to machine the entire stem to put in here. I'll make it out of aluminum. I went ahead and I pushed the triple out, your stock one, and I would see if the original pin from the Ducati would fit in there to kind of give me some reference of how much changes, because I stood up next to the stock one and it was pretty close. So I just wanted to see if it fit through without bearings and get more guidance on it. And you can see, got it mounted on there. The cap threads on, and I got it about the right position for what the bearing would be at. So all's good here. It looks like I need to add about 6 millimeters to the length of the stem, just so I can get up into the pinch section of it. So what will happen is I'll have to machine the entire new stem, and I'll make it out of aluminum, and then I'll have to machine the new cap, which is this right here, and it's a pinch style cap. So when you crunch on the pinch back here, it pinches this and then locks it onto the shaft. So this is how you set the tension on your bearings and your triple. So anyways, I went ahead and just made a quick thread to make sure I could get it to thread and go in there. I've never done external threads, I've always done internal threads, so I don't have the actual right tool. So the tool that I had to machine in reverse. So I'll go over and show you what we got, and then we'll come back. All right, here we go. So basically what I have is I have a boring bar for cutting internal threads, so I had to cut on the opposite side of the workpiece and run the lathe backwards, or I guess you could say in reverse. So, but I was able to cut a thread, and it fits in there. So basically at this point I had to order the tool bit, so that's going to delay me a couple days, and I need some larger aluminum stock, because I have some much larger. I have 2-inch, and I need like 1.5 inches, so I don't have to machine so much down and waste an expensive piece of aluminum. So anyways, I need to go and purchase another chunk of 1.5 inch, and then but this one was big enough to do it. So I need 1.5 inches because this has a flange on it, and that's what stops up against the lower triple. The thread section, I could get away with 1 3/8, which is what this stock is. So I was able to actually produce a thread. It goes in there. Give me a minute here. Try to do this one-handed. There we go. So the thread's in. We're all good. I said that's the first time I've cut external threads before. I've never had a use or need to do external threads, but I have done internal threads for certain things. So I just applied it backwards, but had to do a little ingenuity in cutting it with a boring bit. So anyways, I have this. Once I get the new tool bit for this thing and get the aluminum stock, we'll start up the next episode with that, and we'll throw that on the lathe and make some chips fly. So again, we'll see you on the next run.